Hello, my friends. We have made it to Friday. I just want to let you know that you guys are doing so great. I'm loving the participation that you are putting into this. The idea sharing, just so much of it. The vibe is really, really good right now, and I want to thank you for that because the success of the group, or like the feel of the group, it's totally up to you guys, right? I put my 2 cents in and I do my normal thing, but it's really you guys that drive the energy in the group. So thank you for bringing all your great energy. Today, I want to talk about having a strategy for the weekend. I'm going to include here general weekend stuff and then also social situations and going out to dinner. I think you guys have a pretty strong handle though on how to handle the restaurant situation based on things that we've talked about in passing and things that you have brought up. So I'll just drill home a couple of things, maybe give you some other things to think about. I'll tell you though, the most important part about heading into the weekend, it's just like our week. You have to have a plan. So some of you who are really regimented throughout the week, like your job, you leave the house at the same time every day, you eat lunch the same time every day, you come home same time every day, your workouts are at the same time every day. That's great. And it's actually pretty easy to stick to that because that's just your normal routine. When the weekend comes and you're sleeping in a little bit later, you've got extra functions with your family, friends, and kids, maybe there's more social obligations going on. That's where we really have to have a plan. So first things first, just like I have you do on Sunday nights or Sunday, I want you sometime today or maybe early morning tomorrow, look at what you've got planned for the weekend. You might be eating fewer amount of times so that you can still fit your macros in, because this happens a lot. Like you've noticed when you have a busy day, it's hard to fit your macros in. So if you know that I'm only going to be eating 3 times a day because I'm going to be out and about when I would be normally eating my snacks, have 3 larger meals. That to me, that's a really easy strategy. So make sure you've got a plan in place. Second thing, when you leave the house to go do your stuff, don't leave hungry. Do not leave the house hungry. This is going to save you so much. Even if you're going out to eat or you're going to a dinner party or a party in general, don't go with an empty stomach. I'll talk about why in just a moment. In addition to not leaving the house hungry, when you do leave, I want you to have healthy snacks with you, because there's going to be a time where you get stuck somewhere. The mall. You get stuck at the mall. You get stuck talking to people at the soccer games. The food never comes out as soon as it's supposed to. You decide to take a detour somewhere around town and you end up starving, and it's so tempting to let's just pull over and go to Chick-fil-A real quick, which you can do really well at Chick-fil-A, but I want you to have a plan. I don't want it to be a fly by the seat of your pants, I'm stopping at Chick-fil-A. I want you to say, we're stopping at Chick-fil-A at 1 o'clock because it's in between workout and soccer game. So always have a healthy snack with you. You guys know what snacks to bring now. Your jerky, your protein bars, almonds, be mindful of the fat, some boiled eggs, a yogurt if you can bring like an insulated container, or a small meal. Have some chicken breast with some vegetables, right? Snacks aren't always snack food. Sometimes they're just small meals. So always have something with you. Again, this is going to save you in the long run. And it's all about you being in control. So that's why I don't want you to leave the house hungry, because when you get to where you need to be and you get there hungry, you don't have, it's harder to tap into willpower. I don't want you to have to make a bunch of decisions. The less decisions you need to make regarding food, the better it's gonna be. That's why meal prep is so important, and that's why planning your week and your weekend is also so important. So those are the main things. Have a plan. Do not leave the house hungry. And when you do leave the house, have food with you. It's gonna save you so much in the long run. So in addition to that, so let's say you are going out to eat. Let's again try and have it a planned thing. if you know that you're going to go out to dinner on Saturday, let's try and make dinner on Saturday our one meal out. Simply because it's the control thing again. You can bet that when you go out to eat, even if you're trying to do your best, your food is going to have just a little bit more fat and maybe a little bit more carbohydrates. So that you can maximize the control that you have, just have one meal out per day. Know where you're going to go so that you can look at the menu in advance and make some smart decisions. Also plug it into MyFitnessPal earlier on in the day if you're tracking your macronutrients. So if you do want to save your fats and your carbs for your dinner out, like so you're going out to a hamburger place and you do want to have French fries and a hamburger with a bun, let's save our carbs and our fats for that meal so you know earlier on in the day you need to cut back in those areas. If you can be in charge of where you are going, so if you're going out to dinner with a bunch of friends, say, hey, why don't we go to so-and-so? So that you know there is something on the menu that's in alignment with your goals. Again, it all comes down to control. Now, once you get there, stick with a lean protein and vegetables. Pretty much anywhere you go, not everywhere, but pretty much anywhere you go, you're going to be able to find a grilled or a baked or a roasted chicken, salmon, shrimp, tofu, beef, pork chop, salmon, I already said salmon, or any other sort of fish. That's going to be one of your best bets. When you choose your side, go for a vegetable side rather than something with a bunch of sauce on it. A little bit of rice isn't too bad. A little bit of pasta isn't too bad, but look out for the sauces. Any cream sauce is like, to me, blaring lights. Wee-oo, wee-oo, wee-oo. Like, there's just so much fat in the sauces. Unless you've accounted for it, just make your decisions wisely in accordance with your goals. The other thing that you might need to do, you might need to double up on protein. If you're at a Chipotle or a Qdoba, ask for extra chicken, ask for extra beef. Most places don't have any problem doing that for you. Some don't even charge you. Just be aware there might be a slight charge. And when you're ordering things like at a Chipotle or a Qdoba, go easy on the rice or don't get the rice. If you're getting rice, don't get the beans. Try and get as many vegetables into your bowl as possible. Get the fajita vegetables, get the lettuce. I went to there because that's an easy place to like stay within your macros, those places where you like build your own bowl at Tokyo Joe's. And again, if you're in charge of the restaurant, you can choose places where you know you can get something that's going to suit your needs. So we're ordering extra protein. I don't want to say don't, but try to stay away from the chips and the bread and anything that comes before your meal. Don't waste your calories or your macros on food that, first of all, you can get it anytime, anywhere. You can have chips at home, you can have bread at home. But you go out to eat for the meal and the company. We don't need to indulge in the bread ahead of time. It's just going to like zap your carbs like that, also with the chips. So try and steer clear of that unless you've already accounted for it. If you are going to have cocktails or wine, I like to choose cocktails or dessert. I try not to double up unless it is an anniversary or a birthday special situation. So that's one way that you can still go out, have fun and participate, but you're still making decisions in alignment with your goals. What else? So here's a strategy that helps no matter what you're ordering. You might be like, F you, Kylie, I want to have that pasta with that cream sauce. Okay, I honor that. You can do that. Let's not eat all of the pasta with the cream sauce at dinner. Let's eat half of it, slowly to 80% full, and then take the rest of it home so that you have lunch tomorrow. If you have a hard time stopping with half of the portion, share. Share with whoever you're out to dinner. Do the family style so you can get a little bit of what it is that you love, but you're not forced or you don't feel obligated or tempted to eat all of the pasta with the cream sauce. Um, Other eating out tips. Yeah, so choose one or the other, alcohol or desserts. And don't be afraid to special order. So let's say you do go someplace and you don't see anything that's really jiving with your current situation. Don't be afraid to ask your server, I need something that's grilled. I need a vegetable. What can you do for me? They are so used to people now saying, I have this intolerance and I'm allergic to this. Can I do this? You asking for a meat and a vegetable is like small potatoes compared to what other people are asking them to do. So don't be afraid to speak up for yourself and make sure that you get something that you really, really want. And that you're gonna not feel guilty eating. I don't want you to feel guilty eating anything. So that's really the deal with going out to dinner. You can see being in control is the most important thing. Now, if you're going over to somebody else's house, this is almost more difficult because you don't have really options to choose from, which is again why it's important not to leave the house hungry. See if you can figure out what you're having ahead of time. Call your friend. Hey Barb, what are you serving tonight? Can I bring anything to help out? So then you know what Barb is serving. You can bring a side that you know you can eat. And yeah, so that way you have a little bit more control. The big thing when you're at someone's house, if it's just more like a walking around, the food's in the kitchen, we're talking, we're drinking, all that thing, do not position yourself where the food is. You know how everybody kind of like hangs out in the kitchen and you just stand there and you eat and dip and eat and dip and drink? Move yourself away from the food. It's just too easy to grab and eat. So station yourself somewhere else so you're not tempted to. You don't even want that food for the most part. It's just there. People are eating it and so are you. Be mindful of your alcohol. You know, I like to always have something in my hand that, if I'm not drinking, that isn't alcohol. So a soda, water, whatever, just so people don't continuously ask you if you want something to drink. So you're constantly still sipping on something. You don't feel like you are missing out. Because people do that. They try and push things on us. And I'll do a conversation on that later on. But it's okay for you to say no to anything. No, I don't want your meatballs. No, I don't want your pina colada. It looks really good, but I'm going to stick with this LaCroix tonight. So don't worry about what other people are thinking for the most part. One of the big things I'll talk about next week is people are not paying attention to what you're doing, even though you think that they are. And if anyone gives you pushback, just, you don't ignore them. Just tell them you are eating in accordance to your goals. Or don't, just say no thanks and ask them a question about themselves, and the situation will now be over. So those are really the big things. Now, when you're at someone, if you like gathering together in a house, so not going out to eat, but you want to have control over everything, invite people to your house. That's one of the best things that you can do, because then you know what's being served. You just have total control. So you can have the lean proteins, you can have the veggie tray with the dip that isn't loaded with fat. You can do like a Bolthouse Farms ranch that is a yogurt-based dressing and it has a little bit of protein in it and not a lot of fat or carbs in it. So there are ways. You can go out to eat with your friends. You can go to dinner parties. You can go to birthday parties. You can host people at your house without feeling deprived, like without feeling that I'm the only one out of my friends that's on a diet, because you're not on a diet. You're simply making choices that are in alignment with your goals. Now, the last thing that I'm going to touch on is cheat meals. I do not believe in cheat meals, and this goes back to what we talked about the other day. Cheat meals implies that there's good food and bad food, that it puts like moral value on our food, and that's not the case. If you have what some people would call a cheat meal, I want you to consciously be making that decision. And then I want you to not feel guilty after you have that meal, but own your decisions. So yeah, I'm gonna go, Kylie, I'm going out to Mexican with my friends. I'm gonna get my favorite burrito that is full of cheese and sour cream and it's covered in a sauce. And I'm not gonna feel guilty about it one bit because this is the decision that I am making. I'm not willing to give that up right now. I honor that. I, as your coach, I honor that. I want you to be conscious in making that decision and own the repercussions of that decision. Does that make sense? So you can make that decision, and I support you 100% as long as it's definitely something that you want to do. You do not feel guilty about it. And the next day, you don't try and run off, step off, lift weight off, treadmill off, whatever it is that you just ate. If you want something, eat it. But own the repercussions of eating it or drinking it, whatever the case may be. You are in charge of the decisions that you make. And as you're making decisions this weekend, think about your why. Why am I doing this? What am I trying to accomplish? And is by eating this, am I getting closer to my goals? And I'm just empowering you to make your own decisions. I've given you some guidelines, but at the end of the day, it's all up to you and what you want. And like I said, if you want to go have a burrito with the cheese and sour cream, I'm going to support that so long as you don't feel guilty afterwards. Like, this is all up to you. If you want to do it, do it. So yeah, I don't believe in cheat meals. If you're tracking macros, you can just fit the stuff that you want in. That's what's awesome about the macro situation. And if you're not tracking, just follow the 5 habits. Order whatever the heck you want, eat it slowly, eat just to 80% full, make sure it's got protein in it, make sure it's got vegetables, and most quote-unquote cheatish meals do have fat in them. That's not going to be a problem. So if you guys have any other specific questions, please let me know. Yeah, I think we've covered all of the big stuff. It really just comes down to you having a plan. I don't want you to get stuck somewhere hungry, not having something with you, and then you make a rash decision just because you're so darn hungry. Have an awesome Friday. If I haven't heard from you regarding your biggest win for the week or any win at all for the week, please share. It's so important to remember that you have made strides this week. You are doing the work and you have a lot to be proud of as we head into the weekend. Keep it up, you guys, and I'll talk to you tonight.